Are you sure you want me as a host? Because I'm like, are you sure you want me as your host? as your
What were you gonna say?
I just talk a lot. It's kind of curious why.
This is a podcast. It's not.
That's
you
true.
Have to talk.
That's true. But I sometimes feel
It's not
bad
like
if
people
I'm taking
tune
up
in and
all
go,
the time.
"Wow, these guys are awesome." Here's 40 minutes of silence.
All right, what's going on? Welcome to the show with no name. My name is Daniel. His name is Brendan. This is the show where we don't really have any. We talk about anything. It's pretty much what this is. We don't have a direction or anything. Brendan, or I guess I should call you by what you prefer to be called by, B, and that's what I call you by too all the time. So B, how are you doing tonight?
I am well, Daniel. I'm really well. I'm glad to be talking with you. And so it's B's fine. I love my name. Just so, in case mom and dad are listening, I love Brendan. I think it's a beautiful name, but B is just so much easier.
It's because it's only one syllable. It's one letter. You don't have to worry. It's much simpler to do it that way, right?
Exactly. How simple is you can't forget or mess up B unless I guess you could. You could call it D or C
or any one of the other 26 letters of the alphabet.
That rhymes with E. Yeah, exactly.
Anything that rhymes. So when you tell people like, oh, my name is B, and people are like, what? Do you ever do you ever use like the phonetic alphabet? You're like, it's B like Bravo or anything, or then you say it's B like Brendan or something like that?
Oh, so no, that's actually a good question, but no. So I never did anything like Bravo or B as in. I would always say it's B as in B. Like the letter B. I would just say it like that. Or so sometimes I would say this.
Oh, okay, E, cool, E. Well, it's nice meeting you.
So sometimes I'll say, my name's Brendan, but a lot of people mispronounce it and say Brandon, or they say Brian, and I'm like, that's not my name. My name is Brendan, and they'll be like Brundlebauer, and I'll be like, look, dude, the whole reason that you call me B, I introduced you. You've already got it wrong, right? That's the whole reason I've called. You can call me B. And sometimes if I'm being like really snarky, I'll say, imagine like the letter 1 or the number 1 and then the number 3, and then you kind of squish them together and you get a B, and that's my nickname. It's B.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
So when you have 1 and 3, nobody can mistake that for, is that an R or a U?
That's true, but that's a lot longer than just telling someone your name is Brendan.
Yeah, that's why I have to be in like a really kind of snarky mood to be doing that.
It's actually interesting you say that. Actually, just this morning, I was at church and I was talking to somebody, and I was talking to my younger brother, and I mentioned your name, and someone else in the room. So, I need to preference this. We have a good friend who used to play in the worship team, and his name was Brandon. And when I mentioned your name to my younger brother, someone else in the room was like, Brandon? Oh, what Brandon? You heard from Brandon? Exactly. What's going on with Brandon? Like, what's the deal with him? So, yeah, no, I can definitely see how people could get that mistaken. So, but anyway, again, like I said, this is that's a great intro, by the way. Just start off by talking about the origin of how you got your nickname.
2 minutes on a nickname, exactly.
2 minutes on a nickname. Wow, this show is starting off strong.
And no, so what I could have done is I could have actually made it. I should have done something like I told some crazy story, like back when I tagged buildings as an Irish hoodlum in Dublin, in South Dublin, the B, and I can't tell you exactly so people who have tags. Right, you're never supposed to explain why and how you got your tag.
You just broke the first rule of tagging.
I know.
Started to just explain your reasoning behind. Also, if I'm not mistaken, your tag is never anything to do with like your actual name. Like It's completely separate. So B wouldn't work for you in that regards. Right. Either. I think first off, I think your story is horrible. Second, I think you need to come up with a new tag. And third, somehow I don't believe that you were a hoodlum at any point. Knowing you personally, I just don't feel like you've ever been a hoodlum before. So
you are correct.
But anyway, I guess we can jump into some random topics here. What is at the top of your list of like just things off the top of the cuff that's been on your mind lately?
So actually, I'm going to turn this back around to you because I want to hear about you haven't told me. So you had, and we could have segued with this earlier when you were talking about Brandon, is that you actually had a concert, you were in a band, and you played last night, Saturday night. Yeah, you played Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to hear the whole story about how it went, because apparently you guys and some other people. So this was. I don't want to steal your thunder, but this was several bands, and you guys, or at least somebody, had been promoting it for a while.
Yeah.
And I want to know how that went.
It was actually an interesting. So for those listening in who don't know who I am, I play in a band. We're called Fulcrum Lake. We're in San Antonio, Texas, and we had a show last night at Jack's Patio Bar. Which is interesting because it's actually a pretty popular venue for unsigned bands. And we've never played there before, even though we've been a band for a long time and played at plenty of other venues in San Antonio. For whatever reason, we've just never gotten a chance to play there. In fact, I think I've even reached out to them before at one time or another, asking about one show or another. And, just for whatever reason, we just never got connected and things just never worked out. That being said, I had a booker reach out to me probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago and asked if we wanted to be part of this show. And of course, we didn't have anything on the schedule at the time, so I was like, heck yeah. I was like, I'd love to be part of it. So no, it ended up being a really cool show.
So hold on, back up. So the booker reached out to you to see if you want to be part of the show. So they had already set a date with certain bands, or they were hey,
no, there was a touring band coming through from Dallas.
Okay.
And they were they were promoting the entire show for this other band, and they needed local support. And so they found our music and found our band and said, hey, you guys are awesome. We'd love to have you, come play and support
That's really cool.
This band. So no, it actually worked out. It actually turned out really well. It was one of the first times we had like pre-sale tickets too, which was awesome. Because that gave us a chance to like go out and promote and everything like that. And we did really well in ticket sales. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know this for a fact, I didn't get to see the final numbers, and I don't think anyone would ever show me. And it's not like it was like a competition or anything, but for us, it was just really cool because we sold more than what we expected to sell for pre-sale tickets. And so that was really cool. And it was really cool to see the people and the friends and the family and the people that have supported our bands for our band for either years or just even in this last year when we've become really active now, just to have people come out and watch us play. So no, that was super cool. It was super cool to see everyone. In fact, I'm actually excited because you're going to be here. Brendan doesn't live in Texas. You live in the capital of America, or near the capital of America, I should say. I guess you don't live
DC
right
metro
in
area. Yeah.
Yeah, you live right in the DC metro area, but you're going to be coming and visiting Texas, which actually that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, actually. So I'll segue into that here in just a second. But you're going to be coming here. We have a show scheduled during the time that you're going to be here. So I just thought I'd let you know that. I know you've never gotten to see us play.
So not true. So yes,
you did?
Yes and no. So in your current lineup, I have not seen you guys play. I did see you guys play when it was you, Michael was the drummer, and
was it Ben at the time?
Ben was the other guitarist.
No, he was a bassist. Yeah, when was that? Do you remember what year that was?
Was it White Rabbits? Is that where you guys played?
We've played at the White Rabbit before. So, although it's not called the White Rabbit anymore, they shut down. Now they're called the Paper Tiger for whatever reason. It was a management thing. They sold
So
it.
I'm trying to remember because this was an all-day thing. I think it was a Saturday thing, and it was an all-day thing where they had all these bands, and you guys were on right before dusk. And I want to say it was White Rabbit, but see, the first time I went to the
You're right.
White Rabbit,
I think you're right.
It was
I think you're right. I think it was the White Rabbit.
I've been to the White Rabbit in years prior to seeing you guys. And that's where I saw Webb Wilder. And then you're going, hey, White Rabbit. I'm like, oh man, that place is a dump. And I walk down there and I'm like, it still is a dump. It's just totally different dump. So when the first time I went to White Rabbit was, oh my gosh, so this was 97, 98. I'm trying to think because I remember
I was a wee lad at that moment.
Yeah, you probably didn't. You never even knew how to strum at that point.
No, I didn't know how to. Well,
and it was
I was strumming other things.
So I bought.
I don't know what that means
either. So it had to be, let's see, 90, 97, 98, maybe even 96, because I remember buying a Webb Wilder t-shirt. That Webb Wilder was the band that was there, and that t-shirt got shredded because it became one of my favorite t-shirts to wear under my hockey gear. and the hockey gear just shredded to pieces. But when I went to White Rabbit was just like one room at the time. There was one room, and then there was the stage, and obviously there was a room back behind the stage for the artists. But so it was tiny. And then when I went there, when you guys were playing again, like a decade later, it was, they had like this outdoor bin where like a chicken coop was or something, and then this side gate and all. Yeah, it was White Rabbit, because I remember I parked on the side, which used to be the front, and they had like all of that psychedelic artwork on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when I saw you guys. But you're right, in your current lineup, I have not. And yeah, I'm interested in seeing you guys.
Well, I mean, and just to piggyback off of what you were saying about like venues and stuff like that. Honestly, that's kind of like the unsigned band world. That's kind of like what most venues look like. We've played nice venues before. In fact, last night was actually pretty nice. Last night was a pretty nice venue. I actually really enjoyed it. They had by far the best sound we've ever had, which was awesome. Because aside from, obviously playing well and performing well and having good lights and, a good crowd reaction and everything like that, sound is crucial, to making it,
Sure.
And if you have someone who doesn't know what they're doing with the sound, they can completely destroy a show. But the guy who did the sound last night was incredible. Definitely the best we've ever had. In fact, we actually had tons of compliments from people who've seen us before, perform, multiple times even this year, who told us, they said, that was the best you guys have ever sounded, so that was pretty cool.
That's great then. So let me ask you this, because I saw, me, I only get on Instagram once a day, and I saw the Fulcrum Lake had, not that I'm really trying to promote this, but I'm genuinely interested in it. So one of the photos was, it was like Fulcrum Lake, and I forget, so I remember what the photo looked like, but I forget the caption, like, hey, sorry it was dark, something, and it's you guys on the stage, so it's really hard to make out your faces. And it looks like there's like flying CDs shooting through the stage at you guys. And they're like these different, literally it looks like someone's got like a CD gun and they're like, they're just launching them onto the stage. And like back behind you, you see like, little balls of multicolored light. And so, so now again, I haven't seen you in the new, because you're always telling me like the cool things you're doing, like, hey, we built, this neat fog machine, or hey, we have this light thing that has our band name on it, Fulcrum, like a stage thing that I stand on, and blah blah blah. Yeah. And so my question to you was, how much of what we saw in that Instagram pic was the venue, and how much of it was your stuff?
Actually, I think the thing that you're thinking of, like a CD, was it like on the lower bottom part of the picture?
Yeah, I think it was like lower left, and it looks like this. I'm serious. It looks like a ninja disc, like somebody like trying to like.
It's a symbol.
Saw you in half. Oh, that's right. It is.
The picture was taken from the drummer's perspective. From our drummer's perspective, he's taking a picture outward towards the venue. We wanted to get a picture with the crowd in it. That was our goal. Because we had such a great crowd there. But the problem is that it was so dark in the venue and it was so dark on the stage that when we took the picture, you couldn't really see anybody's faces. And that was kind of sad. But we still wanted to post it anyway, because we're like, hey, listen, we took a picture, like we're going to post. I wanted to post it anyway. That's why the first part of that caption was, the stage was really dark, but, it was still an awesome show, and thanks everyone for coming out. Because, it really was. It was an awesome show. We had, like I said, it had a great turnout, and the people who were there were super engaged, which was awesome.
That's always good.
But that does segue back in, because like I said, I know that you're going to be coming into Texas here later this year, which will give you an opportunity that you'll get a chance to see our band play. There's actually something I wanted to talk about that was completely separate from all of this, from music, but had to do with Texas. I saw a video today that kind of reminded me. So we always, if you're from Texas originally, so you're a Texan kind of like, well, I don't know by birth. Yeah, were you born in Texas?
No, but I got there as soon as I could, just like this poster sticker says. Wasn't born in Texas, but I was born in PA, in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's fun.
I don't think anybody ever starts by saying, I was born in... I don't ever say I was born in Texas.
I just noticed this, and I think I'm an abbreviations guy, because... So I worked at the IRS for 7 years, and everything was an acronym.
And you call yourself B.
I'm B, right? And I work for a DoD entity now, right? So
oh my gosh,
everything is, and we worked in the GAO building, and I probably shouldn't be saying these things. So everything, well, we used to, I don't work there now, so people can stalk that building all they want. I don't go there anymore. But everything is acronym. And so for Pennsylvania, I had always said PA.
I'm from PA.
Yeah, PA.
I'm from PA.
Anyway, I'm way, you're telling a story, I'm way off.
No, it's fine. No, what I was going to say is, interesting thing, and you know this, Texans have an immense amount of pride.
Oh, heck yeah.
Like none, like nobody else. Like I don't know a single other state. And I know that now I say that coming from a perspective of someone who's lived in Texas my entire life. I've gotten to travel all over. I've been to almost all of the 50 states. I think I'm missing like 10 or something like that. I mean, and I've been out of the country multiple times. You and I went on a mission trip to Europe. I've been to Canada once. I've been to Mexico twice. So I've been to other places, but everywhere I've been, I've never seen anybody have so much pride in where they're from or who they are than Texas. And this video that I watched today was a video of a guy from Alabama who was born in Alabama, and he said something very similar to what you said. It's that bumper sticker or something like that. You know, I was born here, but I got to Texas as fast as I could. And he was talking about people who rag on Texans for being so proud about themselves. And he was basically listing off tons of amazing things that Texas has.
Heck yeah.
You know, like foods and things like that. And one of the things that he mentioned that I thought was funny, it just made me laugh so much. It was like one of the last things he mentioned. He's like,
he mentioned the pig stand. Is that what he mentioned?
The what?
The pig stand.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, you know. Is
that like a restaurant or something?
It is. Have you been down?
Oh, God, I feel bad now. Now I feel bad because I live in Texas and I don't know what that is.
It's in San Antonio. So downtown San Antonio, where...
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
With the giant pig.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
The pig stand.
I've never been there. I've never been. Is that like a super iconic Texas thing or just San Antonio?
Well, no, it's a good point. So it's a super San Antonio thing. But I guess anything that's super San Antonio would be super Texas. Because you wouldn't say like, sure, hey, this is an Anchorage, Alaska thing, but it's also an Ohio thing.
But it might. But if it's like famous, like people from all over Texas go to it, that's something different. Like the Alamo is in San Antonio, but everybody knows about the Alamo. I mean, everybody knows that it's in San. And I'm using that's kind of a bigger thing.
No, but your point's valid. It's a good point.
What's something that's smaller? Oh, so something that's come up recently in Texas that's kind of been big, at least they've only been around to my understanding in like the last 5 years, is this new barbecue place called Franklin's in Austin, where literally like you have to show up at anywhere between like 7 a.m. and, or I'm like, I shouldn't say that's not 7 a.m. They have to show up, you know, although people do show up at 7 a.m., you have to show up anywhere between like 4 a.m., because that's like when the first person gets there, to like 9 a.m. And if you don't show up before that time period, you will not get food because they will run out. That's how many people. And this is every single day. I'm not joking about this. If you guys don't believe me, go look up this place called Franklin's Barbecue. It's in Austin. Literally every day they run out of barbecue.
So where is this? Okay, so this isn't a chain. It's a one.
No, it's a one stop. One stop.
Is it right off 35 or is it? Like,
it's fairly right off of 35. Yeah, okay, I think it's maybe like 3 blocks in.
Driving.
Yeah, no, it's like 3 blocks right off of I-35. And the thing about it is that people, you know, like for instance, I had a friend who just went there on Friday. That's 2 days ago. And they showed up at 7 a.m. The place opens at 11. They didn't get served their food until 12:30, I think, I believe. So they waited from 7 a.m. to 12:30 to get barbecue.
So this apparently this meat is like dipped into liquid gold before
pretty
it's
much
onto a plate. And this is incredible.
And I will say this: I've had it before. I've had it as leftovers before. My parents brought me some from when they went at one point, and I've been there myself. And I waited in line. I waited in line for about the same amount of time period. We waited in line for about 5 hours. Now we went on what is considered the slowest of days, which is Wednesday. So if you're visiting into Austin and you want to go to this place called Franklin's, they say Wednesday is the slowest day. It's still going to be packed. We showed up at 8:40, I think, and we got served about 1:30-ish, somewhere around that time period. So still, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of time to wait. On a Wednesday. Now, there's people who are standing in line for just hours and hours and hours and hours. It's unbelievable.
Is there a point where they like run out of food, like at like 2, 3 o'clock?
No, that's what they do. What they do is after like a certain time period, a lady will come out and she'll ask people like, "Hey, what are you here for?" You know, and most people are there for the brisket because it's like one of the most famous things, but they also have pork ribs and other things. And they'll try to estimate when they're going to run out of food. And so there's this sign, and it's called it's basically just a brown piece of paper, and they write on it like the barbecue paper, and they write like last man standing or last woman standing, and it basically they say you are more than likely going to be the last person who's going to get brisket today. Anybody who lines up behind you, well, good luck to them. So, and they tell everyone, so they come out, like once every 30 minutes. The place hasn't even opened yet. It's like 10:30. It's like 30 minutes, and they keep coming out every now and then. They're like, "Hey, just so you know, we already told this lady that she might be the last person." And when I went there, the one trip that I went there, it was the group that was standing behind us that got that brown piece of paper.
Wow.
And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." I was like, "If we don't get brisket," I was like, "I'm going to be an unhappy man." I've been standing here for hours. I even felt sick that day. I had some really bad like acid coffee from like some weird coffee shop that they had there. I don't know what it was. I called it acid coffee because it tasted very acidic, which coffee just isn't supposed to be that acidic. So anyway, that's getting way off topic. Where I was trying to go with this is that Texans in general just have so much pride. And one of the things that this guy said in this video that I saw was that, "Oh, well, you go ahead and keep what you have. We're going to continue to make Texas-shaped waffle makers." And then he said, "That's something," he's like, "that's something that you don't hear Delaware boasting about." And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, you know what? I don't know any state that has a waffle maker. At least I've never seen one. I wanted to ask you, do you know of any other states that has a waffle maker in the shape of its state?
No, so that is a great point, and you're right. So Texas, yeah, there's a lot of American pride. There's much more Texas pride. Okay, so two things on that. One, Texas is just so Texas sells anything with either in Texas shape or with the Texas flag on it. And two, in specific regards to the waffle iron, you couldn't have a Florida waffle iron because it just you would open it up and you'd be like, "Where's my waffle?" Right? Or Delaware would be like, "Dude, what is this? Like the little toothpick part that I pick up?" And
well, I would hope that they would make them a little bigger. Like if it was Delaware, like I feel like, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it would have to be a pretty big waffle maker. I don't know. Well, maybe not, but yeah, like with the regular size waffle maker, you could just mold it into the shape of the state of Texas, and you're kicking out waffles.
Hawaii would be 5 different waffle makers. There'd be no connection between them. It's like you got to make sure you line them up just perfectly when you put them on your plate.
These are to scale. Here you go. That one's worth 2 bites. That one's a bite, and this is 4 bites.
But seriously, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to talk about this too much because I'm sure anybody who doesn't live in Texas probably hates Texans. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or they don't get it. But I love Texas. I've lived in Texas.
We just lost all our Oklahoma listeners. Like, oh God.
I don't think we're gonna have any listeners. Period. So let's just start off with what we have, and we probably just angered anyone who we could potentially have in Oklahoma. So if you're in Oklahoma, I'm sorry. We still love you. But hook 'em horns. I don't mean, I'm just kidding. I probably just lost. Don't we say Oklahoma is Texas's hat? Isn't what people? Oh no, that's what we say. That's what America says about Canada. That's what I've heard at least.
I haven't heard that one.
You've never heard that one before?
No.
I've heard that before, and I don't know if Canadians take that offensively or if they just kind of think it's a joke. I just don't feel like Canadians are offended by.
I think it's more likely they're not. They're either A, don't get it, or B, they're not offended by it.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. I don't know about all Canadians, but I know some Canadians. And I do remember one of them specifically telling me at one point that one of their biggest pet peeves when it came to Americans is when they chant USA. Because you hear them do it like everywhere, is what they were saying. And I'm like, and for a minute I was like, yeah, I guess I can kind of get that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of when people just start chanting out USA kind of thing. But I mean, if it's the Olympic Games and I'm cheering for my country, that's what our country cheers. We say USA because that stands for United States of America. What else do you want us to cheer? United States of America. United States of America. Like, what do you want us to say? Like, we can't say America because, you know, in today's day and age, that's politically incorrect.
Exactly.
You know,
the Americas or something.
Yeah, you can't.
Nobody
you can't even say that either.
Bosnia and Herzegovina. Former Republic of Macedonia. So it's FYWAR. It's FYODOR, something like that. It's former.
What do Slovakians chant? Do they chant Slovakia? Slovakia? It's
probably
it's just
they
hard.
would say it in Slovakian though.
You're probably
there's like a fight, or it's like former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia.
What?
So, yeah, this is so. Hold on, I got to like consult Book of Google, and so it's the only reason I know this is I pay attention to the Euro qualification every year. We went from Texas to Fedor, and so it's like former Yugoslavian Republic of Macedonia. So they call it FYROM, FYROM. And I guarantee you they're not running around chanting FYROM.
Now I kind of want to look these places up and like look up Olympic footage. No, I just mean like I want to see Olympic game footage of their athletes just to see like what they chant. But you know what? At the end of the day, you know, people can hate all they want. America didn't pull the most gold medals the last Olympics, I don't think. I think China did, if I'm not mistaken. But America still pulled a good amount, you know, and they still had a good amount of medalists just in general, you know, so Americans have pride in, you know, the people that, you know, compete and actually win, just like any other country would be proud, you know, with their athletes. I do think that there's a limit, of course. I think there's a limit on everything. I think... Well, that's something else, you know, that we could talk about at another time. But, you know, yeah, I think you have to have a limit on everything. But as a general rule, I don't think there's anything wrong with being proud of your country if they're succeeding in something in particular, as long as you do it in the idea of sportsmanship and, exactly. you know, got to keep
Agreed. Everything in moderation. But you're right. You should be proud of.
Absolutely.
So in the States. And they even do it so I've seen it in Spain, but we do it in the States here. For example, and this is the first team that came to mind, but I use the Dallas Cowboys or even Yankees. But when the teams are doing well, people have those window flags on their cars, right?
Yeah.
Or they have the bumper stickers or the license plate thing, right? And they'll even be driving around with that Spur. I know Spurs big time. It was always the Spurs flags going everywhere. So if you're doing it at the micro, why can't you do it at the macro? And even in Spain,
exactly.
they have their Real Madrid banners and things hanging off of their...
any picture I've ever seen of Spain, it probably has something to do with them winning something like the World Cup or something, and I just see tons of yellow and red flags everywhere. Like,
sure.
Like they paint the entire country yellow and red, you know, kind of thing with the amount of flags. But again, like I said, you know, everything in moderation, I think that's perfectly fine. You win something, you have a huge accomplishment for your country. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So I feel like people are just so quick to jump on people for being like, oh, that's way too much. That's way too much. But speaking of way too much, we are actually running a little thin on time right now. So before we go, Brendan, did you have anything that you wanted to say finally before we close off this first abomination of a podcast, if you will?
I think FYROM needs to come up with a really cool theme. I will send a letter to the U.S.
Can we just get can we send them shirts that just say "I'm with FYROM"? I feel like that would be a good shirt. Next Olympic Games, I'm gonna watch everything and I'm just gonna wear that shirt.
You got to say, yeah. So look, they're good. I don't even. Every country is represented, right? So I guess they.
Yeah. Oh, they need representation. Yeah. No, you be that one guy that brings support and awareness to FYROM.
Just get a flag. One side is USA. The other side is FYROM. Just kind of wave it around. People feel like
sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, with that being said, this is the show with no name. If you liked what you heard, stick around. We plan on doing more of these. So thank you again for tuning in. Y'all have a great night.